Можем начинать.
Okay, good afternoon. It's Sova Capital. It's our small and mid-cap conference. Probably this is our actually concluding Zoom in our conference. So far we had 27 corporates and lots of clients from across the world. Today we are speaking with Nexters, a relative newcomer in the Russian market. I think we'll start with a quick intro. I will ask the company to talk about itself. Just in case people are not sufficiently familiar with it yet, and then we'll host a Q&A session. In order to ask a question, you can just raise your hand or send a question to the chat room. Let's maybe start with a quick intro about the company to discuss its investment story. And with this, I would like to pass the floor to the company CEO, Andrey Fadeev, if possible.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mikhail. I'm Andrey Fadeev, CEO and the co-founder of Nexters. We made Hero Wars. I think all of you saw our advertisement. And next, our story. The story of Nexters dates to 2010, when my co-founder Boris and I first met. Later, we decided to focus our forces and join our forces under Nexters brand. And today, Nexters is a top 5 European mobile game developer. We are now a sizable business with $443 million of bookings in 2020, which has seen 10x bookings growth over the last 2 years. As a result of our effective business model, we've been historically profitable and generated substantial operating cash flow of $121 million in 2020. We launched our first games in 2013 and 14, and our current blockbuster Hero Wars in 2016. All of these are award-winning games with loyal players and strong cohort economics. In 2018, founders of Playrix, I think you know it's Gardenscapes and Homescapes, which is world's #2 mobile game developer, acquired a stake in Nexters and brought additional expertise and knowledge. This helped us to change focus from social to mobile games, after which our business underwent enormous growth. Today, we are well diversified across key platforms and geographies, as we know how to localize and adapt content for local needs and be efficient across various markets. Our largest market now is US, but we are also very strong in Asia, Europe, and the former Soviet Union countries. Russia is approximately 10% of our bookings now. We believe our expertise in user acquisition, content creation, and monetization will allow us to further fuel our growth in existing and new titles. For 2021, we have 3 new titles in the pipeline, one of which is already launched. Also, we believe we are well positioned to become a consolidator on the Russian-speaking gaming market, which has nearly 1,000 of independent game development studios. As we are the first one in the industry with a public currency, which can be used for M&A financing. So this is our brief overview, and let's go to Q&A section.
Okay, in order to ask a question, please unmute yourself, or you can just send a question to the chat room. We have a first question in the chat room. What is the expected lifetime of existing and new mobile titles? For how long can the company keep monetizing Hero Wars? I think it's one of the most frequently asked questions about the company, by the way.
Anton, please add if I will. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
I'll answer that. If
Yeah.
I thought maybe Alexander wants to take that one, but it's all right. So actually, expected lifetime differs for mobile and for our desktop games. Actually, that's two different games aimed at two different audiences. So one audience, so audience of the desktop game has more time to play, more time to get into the all the mechanics of the game and into all the logic, and the session is longer, and the mobile version is a little bit more casual. So there are two different teams working on the game, and this is a very this is an important part about our company. But answering the question about the lifetime, so we anticipate for the desktop version for the lifetime is 1,200 days plus. And for the mobile version is it's 900 days plus. So basically, why is it so? Actually, we anticipate the lifetime to be even more than that, but we don't have so much history of the game to be able to say that the lifetime is going to be even bigger than that. So basically, our mobile version has been launched in the end of 2017. And since we started our marketing activities and acquired a substantial amount of players, when we can tell how long that those cohorts still can live. So we still have some players from 2017. Those cohorts are alive. So are the cohorts of the players whom we have acquired at the start of the desktop version. So actually, we believe that we are going to keep monetizing Hero Wars for decades. Actually, it's not only about monetizing those players. So we provide valuable content for those players, and they keep playing our game and keep paying for some valuable items and for some valuable experience they have in our game. So we are building games for decades and not for months and years. That would be the answer to that.
Yes, I would like to add to answer of Anton. Now, 5 years ago, some of us game developers thought that a game could live maybe 1, 2, 3 years, and there are a lot of games with such a lifespan. But now we see much more examples of games like Forever franchise with more than 10 years of lifespan. We can see now Clash of Clans of Supercell, World of Tanks, Wargaming, and there are a lot of games which could live much more than 2, 3 years. It could live 7, 10 years, and we believe that if you can put new content to existing your game, people will play and will pay in it maybe to the next few years without any restrictions. And such model now console and PC game makers they already catched and decided to put to their Call of Duties DLCs. When every quarter they put new content and sell it like new content, but this is only one game. So now we believe that games, good games, are platforms where content could be put inside, and after players can play in it and to pay in it. and it could be to the future. Forever franchise.
Andrey, I'll just a few quick examples on existing, like on the market on mobile market. Actually, we can see that that the games by Supercell and by King.com, Candy Crush Saga, and Clash of Clans and Heyday live for more than 10 years. I mean, Heyday is 11 years old. The Clash of Clans is going to turn 10 years old next year, and they still keep performing. They still engage more and more players. So the mobile market has examples which are very big, and the games are not ceasing to exist. I mean, they are getting developed, and so the market has changed since we remember the first Angry Birds.
Thank you. If I may, can you just maybe come back to the basics of your business and discuss a few things that I'm pretty sure people will be interested to know. Why do you guys focus on bookings and not revenue in your financial reporting? And what's the difference between the two metrics?
Okay, yeah, thanks for the question. So I take that if I may. Look, first of all, just probably couple of words on the theory of that and how we do that in practice. So in general, the difference between the revenue and bookings is so-called deferred revenue. So it's basically the bookings that we have. I mean, what are the bookings? Bookings are kind of the real purchases generated by our users in the respective period, whatever it would be, just a quarter, a year, and whatever kind of bookings of different types. Like we also have a small portion of advertising bookings and revenues in each of the periods. And then in accordance with IFRS as well as US GAAP, what we have to do is to defer a quite substantial chunk of revenues to the next period. And for that to happen, gaming companies develop a number of instruments, in certain cases, very complicated mathematical models, like Kaplan-Meier, like all types of regressions and so on. And those models and methods are different. Some companies would be using just the method to amortize the revenue over the lifetime of each specific item. It's not something that we would usually see because it's very kind of time consuming and labor consuming, but certain companies would do that. The majority of the companies would use the lifespan of the paying user as a benchmark over which the bookings of the specific quarter are amortized. And it's also have a complicated type of features, like usually the companies would be breaking down the lifetime of the paying users by different kind of platforms, and even would segregate, like for example, how we do, we separately calculate the lifetime of the high paying users, medium paying users, low paying users, and apply to kind of different chunks of bookings. Some of the companies would use just the lifetime of a game if a company is able to estimate that and prove that the estimate is reliable. So it's a lot of judgment around that. And usually what's happening that if you would compare two very similar companies with similar games and similar gameplay, two different accountants and two different persons doing with IFRS or US GAAP may come up with fairly different judgment and estimates about the lifetime of the consumers and hence revenues. And basically, as a response to that very judgment-heavy type of accounting, basically the gaming world already it's I think it's already like over a decade out there in the market. So the analysts and the investors in this space use the bookings, which is basically something that is less judgmental. So it's basically literally what we see in the reports that were provided by all the platforms, like by Apple, Google, and other platforms we're working with. It's like the parameters that they see in the systems in terms of the real purchases made by all the consumers in each of the platforms. And second reason would be so-called the management view. Because this parameter is something that is free of bias and is not depending on any specific judgments. We inside the company, the management, we use this parameter. It's basically like the revenue deferral is not. None of the companies, I would say, is able to estimate that, let's say, on a daily or weekly basis. Even monthly accounting for revenue deferral would be quite a headache. But what we need in our business to monitor basically every day, and in certain cases every hour, how we are performing in specific channel, platform, or geography. And we can only do that based on the bookings, kind of net bookings and many other measures. So, and we're using only that when we take our decisions. And whenever we talk about the profitability measure, again, the one that we use inside the company, it's also based, it's kind of EBITDA, but it's not EBITDA, it's what we call the management profitability measure. It's also based off the bookings and on the bookings, but not on the revenue, simply because it's something that we can predict and something that we can influence. And again, we believe that at least the majority of the companies whose reporting we can analyze and which we consider peers, we believe they do exactly the same inside the company. So whenever they, at the management, are taking the decision about the deployment of the marketing dollars, about rolling out the games to a specific geography or platform, they operate the bookings rather than revenues. But that's much more simple, and this is something that the company can easily impact. So that's more or less the background. So sorry if it's too technical, but I think it's fairly important for the guys to understand how that all works.
Oh, that's definitely important. Thanks, Alexander. We have a question from the audience. Sergey, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much for this meeting, and I would like to congratulate you guys being public again, being a game developer public in 2021. It's already exciting. Being from Russia is even exciting the most. What I really want to ask you, if you don't mind, I have several questions from various areas. So first of all, obviously there are two strategies on the development on the gaming. One is going to the, let's say, DM, developed Europe, US, etc. Another one is going to Asia, which was a perfect strategy until probably midsummer this year for various reasons. So what is your strategy? That's the question number one. Where are you going? So which region you're really focusing on? And the second question, which is again, at least what I've got the idea based on your website, you are mostly focused on mobile gaming. So how do you see your mobile gaming in terms of breakdown between platforms? So Apple, Android. And do you see any significant changes in your financial situation related with Apple Epic negotiations? Because technically you are the guys who perfectly fit in this, I don't want to say loophole, but in this specific case when you really can earn more in the foreseeable future. Thank you.
Let me take this one, the first part, and then I'll pass on to Alexander. Sergey, first of all, thank you very much for your kind words, and we are also super excited to be publicly listed. And we are the Russian game developers who got listed on Nasdaq in 2021, and we're the first Russian company on Nasdaq. So yeah, yay! Great deep questions. So talking about our game development strategy, I would say that first of all, our strategy is to create very games which are targeting very wide audience. So basically, we are not trying to over segment and to make to find a small fraction of the audience and to be specifically targeting it as this was like the trend for maybe still the trend for PC gaming or something like that. So basically, we are operating an RPG game, which is of course, diversified across geographies, but most of the revenues, most of the bookings come from the western part of the world. So we've got like 84% of our bookings in 2020 coming from Europe, North America, LATAM, but not and just 16 coming from Asia. And we operate an RPG, which actually comes from, as a genre, comes from Asia. So basically, we have created a game which has become super popular and has received, so is very well accepted by the audience, but it is very well accepted in the West, given that most of the revenues for the genre come from Asia. And we see that still we have a lot of room to grow there. And this actually, we like this. We like that we operate something and it becomes very big, and we still have a lot of opportunities to go to another region. And we have made some. So basically, we are making assumptions. So why is that? And why is our game that popular in the West? And it shows very. So preliminary, we are very strong in Japan. We are very strong in Taiwan, and we are kind of, we want to become big in China, and now trying to get so we are in process of negotiations with the partner to get the ISBN and to get published there. And preliminary tests show that this is possible, and this is what we want to continue in our game development strategy. So we want to build games for both of the worlds, for the West, which actually more welcomes the story, more welcomes, the narrative, and very lovable characters and very deep kind of mechanics for the Asian players. So I hope this answers your question. So we try to find the balance and create a game that will be played in both parts of the world, as we see our strong point in broadening the audience for our games, and not trying to make it as segmented and as small as some other players. Smaller as other players on the market. As for our mobile, our mobile as a platform and our aim at mobile. So basically, we got focused on mobile in 2018, and actually it has become a winning strategy. But we originate from social networks. And we have stayed very long, on social networks, creating games for Facebook and Russian social networks. And when Buchman brothers joined the company in 2018, basically they brought some expertise, and the part of that was the focus on mobile as a platform which had become at the time the biggest platform for casual players. And basically, we believe that our platform is the platform where most of the casual players can reach our games. And we are building games for those platforms where where all the casual players are. So basically now, mobile and Apple and Android are platforms with enormous audience. It's 2.7 billion, if I'm not mistaken, and it's estimated to grow to 3.1 billion in 2023. And so this is like a lot of players. And if something changes, if there are any other platforms, if anything else becomes popular, we of course will be looking at that, because we came here to the public market, not just for 1 year, for 2 years. We want to build a big story, and we want to create games for decades, which will be played by like all players in like most of all players in the world for years and years to come.
Okay, thanks, Anton. And I'll comment on the Epic versus Apple, which is kind of really debated quite heavily in our society. Look, first of all, about the short-term effects. Quite honestly, just we don't yet know how this will affect our short-term profitability, and based on the on what other gaming companies said, just no one knows. So it's primarily because it's only, I mean, if you kind of monitor that, it's only just one point out of 10 or 11, I think, that has been ruled in favor of Epic, while the rest, the court ruled in favor of Apple. And we're still kind of unclear how that, because this has to be implemented in a way in the platform, and how that kind of alternative payment platform shall look like from a user experience point of view is still unclear. So it might be not the kind of the easiest solution, and obviously the last thing what we want to do is basically freak out the users, but something that is not really convenient. So, but it's on this kind of long term, it's obviously a huge change. It's though it's just as I said, it's only one of the points that has been ruled in favor of against the platform. And this basically happened, to my mind, at least in our space, first time ever since that universe kind of has been created by Apple and Google. And strategically, it's obviously, as we believe, it's the beginning of a change. And it's not only about the kind of the technical things about the payment, but it's generally about the fact that the platform, as well as we do, they also compete for the users and for the dollars the users spend, not only specifically in gaming, but in any other apps that the platform will distribute. And whenever the market gets saturated, that competition will, we believe, will make the platforms to behave much more flexible, both in terms of the payments and many other things. And the third, what is important, we have started to tackle that basically already more than a year ago. We started to develop our own desktop version quite heavily. And as we just announced a few days ago on our earnings call, it's now almost one third of total bookings. And this is this is still outpacing quite heavily. I mean, we really were doing very good on mobile in Q2, but still mobile was outpaced by far by the growth of bookings in desktop. And this is the major reason why our blended commission kind of went down. So if you kind of just take the commissions, it's now all the public data in our reporting, in our FRS reporting in 2019, then the blended commission would be around 31% of the revenue. And then it's constantly ticking down, and it's in Q4, I think it's just under 27%. So it's predominantly due to our own platform where we pay much less commission. And this is something that also impacts the market in general. It's not only we have been really very successful in that, but what we see many other companies do that as well. So many other companies try to spill over in a way their experience from desktop versions that are using on social networks to their own platforms. And this is something that we believe makes the mobile platform to think more flexibly about, because basically what's happening, they're generally using the dollars spent by the users out of their universe. We are getting directly those users, interact with them directly, only using kind of the tax agent and the payment and risk acquirer as a platform. That's it. And it's also a lot of speculations about alternative kind of advertising networks. It's all interconnected. So it's also kind of how IDFA look like. It's many rumors and a lot of speculation. I really don't want to speculate, but we believe it will be hopefully a tougher competition from the standpoint of platforms also in this universe that will in the long term make our profitability higher, generally speaking. So I hope this helps.
Yeah, can I ask just one follow-up question? If you don't, okay, eventually two, but trying to be as short as possible. So, can you please just with a general trend tell us which platform, in terms of your cash conversion cycle, is better for your game? So, Android, Apple, in terms of, I would say, where the end user is spending more, generally speaking, because that's what eventually interesting to understand how really the mechanics of the monetization works. And a second question is about the new platform in China. Again, China is a huge market, and we know there are some sort of tensions with Google, and they're still trying to roll out their own app stores, lots of them. How fast you really can fit into these new app stores with your games for local players?
Okay. Sash, please continue.
Yeah. So I mean, look, in terms of the monetization, look, I mean, in terms of the absolute numbers, obviously the desktop version is the heavier version. So you would see that the basically the CPIs, the consumer acquisition cost per payer, and the average checks, and obviously LTV would be higher. I mean that would be valid for any. I believe, not probably for any, but I will for the vast majority of the games that has both the mobile version and a desktop version. But it's not something that really as important, because we are looking at relative numbers. So we are trying to deploy basically our marketing dollars throughout all the platforms. And what we are targeting is basically the LTV to exceed the consumer acquisition and to maximize the value for the company. And it's so from that point of view, really the average checks, it's a nice thing to have, but it's on the other side, we are having like lower checks in iOS, but even lower in Android, but much more users. So it's very geo specific. So in certain countries, we would be having like predominantly Android users, in certain cases predominantly iOS, or just the larger share of iOS, and the monetization strategy and the kind of marketing strategy would be different depending on what we have in each of those channels. So that's quite a lot of stuff under the hood, just for us to understand what is really efficient at this specific point of time within this specific channel, and that's basically what we do daily, on a daily basis, to trying to maximize the efficiency of the investments.
Thank you.
And in terms of China, yeah, absolutely. So totally agree with Sasha. And as for China, so the news that came this summer about the regulation. Basically, we are not that. So basically, we don't think that there is a lot to worry about, as the regulations are mostly aimed at the younger audience and the players under 14 years old, and as our games actually target audience which is 30 plus, I would say. So basically, this is I think we are not exposed that much to the regulation, and we still believe that it is a huge market, and the partners whom we negotiate with on getting published in China also keep telling us not to worry that much, as this would like wind down in a bit of time.
So it's more about the question of the local partner rather than to adapt the existing game on the new platform.
Sorry, totally. About that. So we had some early tests before actually Apple has banned all the apps without the ISBN out of Chinese App Store in 2020 and in 2019. And those tests, so I mean, some marketing campaigns, and we had some audience from China in Hero Wars, and we have localized, not adapted, right? So we have localized our game to simplify and traditional Chinese. We saw great numbers. We were super happy with that, and it was it was a pity to to lose our players in that market, as the app got banned after, I believe, 1st of July 2020. But those early tests got us an understanding that actually our game matches the market a lot. And of course, we need to do some adoption, but it is not that hard. So it's not like creating another game. So basically, the game itself, the game mechanics, the way it is built is well perceived by Chinese audience. Of course, there should be some amendments made in order to meet some standards, to make sure that the game runs smoothly in the region, and but it's minor, and we are already working on it.
Thank you for the answers.
Thank you. We have our next question in the chat room. You seem to spend a lot on marketing activities. Could you please share what percentage of total marketing do you spend on Hero Wars versus other titles? Do you need to invest in customer acquisition for Hero Wars as much as you did in the past, or do you mostly focus on monetizing existing customer base, including the 2017 cohort?
Thank you for the question. I would answer that if you don't mind. So we spend around 95% of marketing budget now on Hero Wars, as this is our flagship title, and all the titles are in progress. So we've got some tests, but we don't spend much, as this is still as we haven't yet reached the efficiency we are looking for. That's why we're not scaling that. And of course, when we find the right balance between the LTV and the customer acquisition costs for Chibi Island, for example, and when we roll out our other two titles, of course, the share of Hero Wars marketing will go down from 95%. Yeah, so do you need to invest in customer acquisition? Actually, we see the opportunity on growing Hero Wars even bigger. So basically, as Alexander said, we are looking for opportunities to find more players at effective cost. So basically, we're trying to expand. We're trying always to be expanding our user base. So we've got very strong cohorts from starting from 2017, which still bring us revenues, and we've got a very solid. So basically, if we turn off marketing, basically we will be still making a lot of money, and that will be all profit. But we are trying to spend as much as we can effectively to invest into marketing as effective as we can, so that we actually build a bigger and a brighter future for Hero Wars in the years to come. So basically, we forecast every cohort that we acquire, and this is all going to be bringing us revenues in 2, 3, 4, and 5 years. Alexander, if you have something to add, that will be welcome.
I think it's all clear. That's exactly right. And we really just probably one thing. It's if you like really look back like 10 years ago when the industry was created in a way by Zynga and a couple other companies, then usually the games were really existing in a, let's say, kind of cash generating and money generating capacity for a few months and very rarely for just a couple of years. And the whole race in a way for the profitability was about the pipeline of the games to be completely ready for the launch with the kind of very deep gameplay and all the monetization mechanics in there. And just you and your ability to kind of replace your kind of older title with new was key. And this is completely changed. Now we are witnessing already several games that are so-called forever franchise. It's a buzzword, but it's what's really happening. And if you, I don't have at hand kind of the recent reports, market report, but it's give or take like more than half of the revenues of total gaming market this year, they are produced by the games that are 5 and more years old. This is the trend basically because the scale creates scale and success creates success, because not many companies are really in a position to basically get the instruments, financial resources and brain force to deploy like $30 million of marketing efficiently in a month. There's probably less than a decade of such companies, gaming companies all around the globe, and Nexus is one of those. For that to happen, you really have to build up over the course of the years. So first of all, people and knowledge, but second, a hell of a bunch of statistics around how users behave to be able to understand like day 1 and day 7, those kind of metrics that we use that the cohorts performs well, but also a lot of really statistical instruments across all the channels and geographies that can be demonstrating a high level of predictability, how that all will evolve. And having said all of that, we're very far from industry-wide benchmarks. So all in all, again, just correct me, Anton or Roman, if I'm wrong, but we have achieved like 130 something million downloads worldwide so far for the 5 years of history of Hero Wars. And this is like 10% of what, for example, Clash of Clans achieved and many other games. So from the standpoint of audience that we need to cover, it's still kind of miles away until the saturation point. So that's why we're still in a high growth phase, and we're trying to maximize marketing basically each day, kind of analyze the data.
So I would just make a slight comment about the numbers. We have reported that we have achieved 120 million downloads altogether on all platforms, and basically we have made 10% of what Candy Crush Saga by King Kong has achieved since 2012. But if we get compared to Clash Royale by Supercell, is just 1/3 of that. So basically we have a lot. So I mean, we just would like to compare ourselves to something in the same genre, which would be mid-core, and I mean. Give or take in the same genre, and that so we have there is a lot of room to grow in terms of numbers. Definitely, just it's not 1/3 of Clash of Clans. Oh, 1/10 of Clash of Clans. Just sorry.
Thank you. Can I ask you something for myself? Just Anton, you mentioned an interesting thing that your typical customer, your typical user is 30 plus. Could you talk about a bit more about the typical, demographics, the maybe gender split and age split of your customer base, and whether it's actually an advantage for you in terms of monetization, who is spending more, who is more sticky, and so on and so forth?
Yeah, of course. So basically, our game is, I mean, Hero Wars is played more by male audience. It's like I would say 67-68% to 33 female, So yeah, our core, of course, there is there are youngsters playing the game. I mean, youngsters over 80. We've got actually there is no sex violence and other stuff. I mean, but it's not a real-time game, which are more popular with the younger audience. So that's why I'm saying that that youngsters don't choose that, because they prefer they still have a great reactions, so they play something which is fast. And people after 25 tend to choose something where you don't need very fast reactions to tap on your phone. So basically, our core audience is starting 35 to 45, I would say. Sorry, to 55, I would say. But of course, we've got a big audience which is slightly younger than that and slightly older than that, but like most of the players and of the core paying audience are between 35 and 55. And in terms of geographies, I would say that we've got there is a split that we have reported in terms of bookings, and I would say it represents our audience in terms of geography. So we've got 16% of bookings coming from Asia in 2020. This year, this percent is bigger as we grew stronger, a lot stronger in Japan. There are a lot of players from North America, from the US, so it's like 34%. If around 34%, there is like a big playing audience, of course, in Europe, and something around 10% come from FCU countries. Yeah, not more than that.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Thank you so much. Okay, next question, please.
We have a question from Vitaly.
Vitaly, please go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thanks for the call. Just a basic kind of question. How do you see your revenue, or I must say booking mix per title evolving over the next 3 to 5 years?
Okay, let me take that. So it's basically should be more or less based on our current understanding in line with the forecast that basically Kismet has published on our behalf in the filing like a couple months ago. So it's I don't have the percentages at hand, but it's generally we still would believe that Hero Wars would be core title for many years, as Anton said, so 2021, 2022, and even 2023. We would expect the new titles kind of to take an increasingly larger share, but it's something that obviously at risk, and we so far we have basically included in our forecast those titles that we have either launched this year, like GBI, or about to be launched. But generally speaking, we have a few more in the pipeline, and some of those titles may not be as successful. Some will be successful. So it's generally something that we believe will be kind of quite substantially impact our revenues. And the last but not the least, we are in a very kind of hot phase in a way about potential M&A, and we also may expect, though it's fairly difficult to plan and to forecast M&A, but at least based on our stage for now, we would believe that certain portion of the growth would come from the acquisitions as well. Again, having said that, we are not really guiding for the few years to come. We're only kind of providing the guidance for just current year. So as soon as we finish 2021, we will come out there with the new guidance for the 2022, and we'll probably give some more highlights on the split between the core title and the new ones. But so far, this is more or less the overview on how we believe our forecast will look like.
Thank you. And if I may, another one. So a bit earlier, you mentioned 3 titles for the current year in terms of your pipeline. Is that, like, in general, is that a good number to assume going forward? Like, can you maintain that kind of pace?
I will take that. Great question. We don't think that we are going to be making 3 new games a year. So actually, we were planning. So actually, we soft launched Chibi Island, the first game last year, in the end of the year, and 2 new titles we are soft launching this year. So basically, we as we got listed, we were talking about 3 new titles that we've got. But actually, first one was soft launched last year, and those the 2 others are coming up now. So basically, we believe that we'll be creating 1 or 2 titles internally at Nexters a year, and this will be the part of our organic growth. As for there could be, of course, some M&As, but that's another story. As for our internal releases, that would be 1 to 2 titles a year at most.
Thank you, appreciate it. And maybe just last one from my end. If you could shed some light on your M&A philosophy and pipeline, if you have any deals coming through. Thank you.
Yes, I would like this question. Thank you for it. Certainly. We currently are determined to become consolidator in the gaming space in the Russian-speaking community. We believe that we are well positioned for this because we have access to public equity as currency in transactions, which is important. Company company founder culture, because we are founders still, and we can speak this strange language of founders and entrepreneurs. Third, we can speak Russian language, and this is important too for Russian teams. And 4, we have a strong M&A expertise with Buchman brothers from PlayRix and Ivan Tabrin from Kismet. And we have 3 types of M&A transaction which we consider now. First type is mergers of large transformational deals with $1 billion plus dollars of capitalization, with companies with multiple products bringing sufficient scale and diversification to our group. Second type is acquisitions of mid-sized deals, maybe from $100 million to $1 billion of capitalization, with companies with predominantly single product, strong revenue traction, with clear points of attachment of Nexter's expertise, because we believe in synergy. We like to grow EBITDA with the synergy. And we have third type is early stage deals targeted at teams with products at stages from MVP and soft launch to early revenue traction. It could be from 0 to $100 million of capitalization. And now we have a number of opportunities in each deal type on which we are working on now. So we have a QA in our pipeline in this M&A strategy, and it's successful. We believe that each great deal should get time, and the nearest future, yes, we show you, but not more scrutinizedly now. Yeah.
Thank you very much. May I squeeze in another question? Last one from my end. Okay, perfect. Just curious if you could give some details about maybe the size of your game developers team, and maybe how you compete for talent in terms of like how you attract and retain them. Thank you.
Andrey, do you want to answer that question?
I would. Yes, I would like to begin only for your answer, but we have a great culture, and we would like to share this culture. We have we have uncompetitive conditions in our work, like a gaming company, offices, helpers. There are a lot of things why people want to work with us, and this is from the point of view of talented employees. And if we are speaking about founders, about teams, about independent developers, we like to go to profits together with them. We don't want to get their upside. We would like to put our efforts, to put our help, expertise, knowledge to company if they want to reach synergy and to reach very successful results together. And they see it and they want it. So for employees, we have great conditions. For founders, we have great conditions. So Anton, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Andrey. So I would like to start with the numbers. We've got more than 650 employees right now at Nexters, and the number is growing every day. So so game development teams are pretty big, but those depend on the title. So we try to keep as small as we can while we are soft launching, so creating new game and soft launching it, so that the team is very flexible, agile. It can ideate a lot, and is not over is not swamped in different kinds of processes which prevent this team from creating. But as the team grows bigger, and as the project grows bigger, as the game grows bigger and becomes a revenue generating machine, of course, we become the team grows with the game. It becomes bigger. For example, for Hero Wars, 2 teams are around 250 people, I would say, altogether. So, for example, if we compare it to just to a team of a new product, it could be like 15 people or something like that. Hope this answer the first part of the question. And about the numbers, and as for our HR strategy, I would like to say, to mention a few things. Game development is a very niche sphere, and we don't compete with IT giants in Russia, for example, like Sberbank and Yandex, for top developers. As we mostly design apps for platforms, and we try to use native tools of all sorts, and to keep it as simple as we can. Yet, of course, we do need some architectures and that kind of stuff, but it's not. We don't need them in hordes, so to speak. We need we need we need a few people of those kinds. So we don't truly clash for employees with Yandex, and this is a good part. And in that sense, we are not as much affected by COVID remote work, which actually gave a lot of exposure to employees in post-Soviet countries to the Western IT giants as well. But on the contrary, we have gained from COVID as we are now a remote company, and we can hire not only in the countries where we have physical offices, in the countries and cities. We now also hire people from all over the world and all over post-Soviet space. And but still, as the market, as the gaming market and mobile gaming market grows, so does the shortage of specific specialists. For example, game designers. We anticipate that there will be a shortage of game designers and artists who create games, and we also have a strategy there. So we do work on raising internal talent, and we also have acqui-hiring as part of our strategy, and also we do sponsor all kinds of courses on different online educational platforms.
Thank you so much, guys, and good luck on the road ahead.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks everyone. I think it's been a great call. Always great to have new companies on the market, and thank you so much for being with us. I think we're slightly we already exceeded our time limit, so I think I'll thank everyone, and have a great weekend. If there are any questions, you can always contact Nexters directly or us at Sova Capital. We're always happy to chat with you.
Thank you very much.